Hello, ladies and germs, and welcome back to Destination Unknown, where the only thing certain is uncertainty. I am Josh Elliott, and here with me is the magnificent Bludgeon Ubbins.
That is I, Blake Connor, in the flesh, except through sound waves coming through your headphones as we speak. Josh, it has been a lovely weekend this past weekend.
Oh gosh, this is going to be a good one.
No, so this past weekend I celebrated my 22nd birthday, actually. For 22 years of being alive on Earth, I went to the gym in the morning with a couple of friends and I did 22 reps of all the large exercises. The large exercises meaning bench press, squat, deadlift, and then some additional stuff like some curls and some pull-ups and some chin-ups. I did all of that until my body was basically broken, and then I decided, well, it's not broken enough, so I went home and I cooked a 17-ounce ribeye steak, a 3-egg omelet, and 2 chocolate chip pancakes, and I ate all of it. And I only hated myself a little bit afterwards.
Hey, it's your birthday. You're allowed to splurge on some food.
Yeah. And then also, my lovely girlfriend Rachel, she threw me a surprise party, which that's never happened before. I've never had a surprise party, so I was, suffice to say, surprised.
Heck yeah, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, I've never had a surprise party either.
I never thought that I would have a surprise party either. It was just supposed to be like a casual board game night. I was going up, like we were going to hang out with a friend. We walked through the door, all the lights are down, and I'm thinking, that's weird. Why are they dead? And then suddenly, surprise! And I was like,
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
But it's really funny that they turned the lights off.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it made sense because otherwise I would have seen everybody.
Yeah.
But, they jumped out, they screamed, there was cake, there were snacks, all my friends and all my coworkers were there, and it was great. It was really nice. It was a great way to slide into 22.
Could you, for the audience and for any of your friends / coworkers listening, list off who present was a friend and who present was just a coworker?
No, I would not like to do that. you
All right, moving on.
I go down the line and alienate everybody. Yeah, who there strictly do I work with and who there do I actually like? Yeah.
Yeah. Jimmy is my friend, but I don't know about Steven.
Something else big happened this past weekend, and that is the Super Bowl. It really didn't feel that big.
Wait, that was this weekend? I'm kidding.
Yeah. Well, it really didn't feel that big because I'll tell you, that was one of the most boring football games I've watched in a very long time.
I will say, from start to finish, it did a wonderful job of maintaining the same exact tone, which is bad throughout the entire thing.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. The Patriots have gone to the Super Bowl the past 3 years, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Enough is what I have to say about that. Enough. Give it to somebody else. Okay.
That didn't even bother me really. It's just the fact that
it was like not an exciting game.
It just wasn't a good game. It was so uneventful.
No, I mean, it was 13-3.
Yeah, the final score, and that's only because they had a surge of scoring at the end, and by a surge I mean not really.
I'll tell you what really, really rubbed me the wrong way the most, and that is the Super Bowl halftime show. That is really the only reason that I tuned in this year. I'll always watch the Super Bowl just because it's a big event and I like to keep up with things, but I was really excited because I signed the Change.org petition to have Sweet Victory played, the SpongeBob song, because rest in peace Steven Hillenburg. And what do? They do tease us with it. They have Squidward introduce, drum roll, Travis Scott.
Who was
not
horrible.
A fan. I did not like that one bit.
I thought it was really funny that the way that Squidward introduced him was, this person needs no introduction, and then they proceed to introduce him with a meteorite.
I just don't know what...
They need no introduction, but here are all of the pyrotechnics that we can afford.
That's a grand introduction, if I've ever seen one. But not a deserved one, because all I wanted, like, here's the thing, I just don't even understand why they didn't do it. Like, I don't know if it's something that, like, they couldn't get the rights to, which, I mean, come on, it's the Super Bowl. Like, if anybody could get the rights to anything, it's the NFL for the biggest television event of the year. I mean, am I wrong about that?
I mean, you would think they'd be able to pull it off. But...
I mean, and obviously they did, because they played a segment of it. Like, they got an animation. It's not like they couldn't get the rights. They played a little bit of it. It's just the fact that they played a little bit, and then everybody got excited. Everybody thought, oh, wow, they're actually going to do it. They're actually going to honor this. And then it just turned immediately into rap.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know the technicalities of, like, the legal side of using a song from a TV show, because they obviously got permission to use clips from the TV show.
Well, that was, like, reanimated.
There were
if you could see
other artists that, like, worked on the song specifically. So, like, I don't know how that works.
The song itself,
but...
"Sweet Victory," is by a guy named David Glenn Isley. I've looked it up. So, like, that's the person who actually sang it. But I don't know. I'm just frustrated because it feels like they had the chance to make the world happy, and instead of making the world happy, they spit in everybody's face.
Yeah, it wouldn't have bothered me if, like, Maroon 5, like, didn't they publicly say that they were going to do it?
Well, they I don't know if they, I don't want to speak to something I don't actually know. I don't know if they publicly said, they definitely hinted at it. I think they hinted that SpongeBob would make an appearance, which, spoiler alert, they did. They did show the clip, but that was it.
I'm glad you said spoiler alert for all of the people listening that are going to watch the Super Bowl in the future that haven't already. All the people that DVR'd it.
That's just one event. Like, if you miss it, you miss it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't rewatch the Super Bowl. You don't, like, come in the next morning. Like, everybody knows the score. Like, everybody's going to talk about it. You know, you can't get away from that.
Wait. Don't tell me. I haven't seen it yet.
Dude, it was the Super Bowl. What did you think of the commercials this year?
For the vast majority, like, all of them sucked.
So I really liked, there was an Audi commercial where a guy was choking on a cashew. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah,
that was
my favorite commercial from the Super Bowl was, I don't know who did it. I think it was Microsoft, but it was like all of the like kids with like disabilities and like
okay, yeah, I do remember. I do like remember
the gaming thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really, really powerful commercial. And then I liked the NFL one with all the, like, old NFL players. But
were they the football?
Yeah,
and
but I don't know what it was advertising.
No,
no. I think it was just a commercial.
Well, I mean, the weird thing about advertising is, like, like 90% of the time, it doesn't even feel like it's related to what they're selling. They're just, like, selling an idea, or they're selling a lifestyle. They're not selling products. You know what I mean?
I mean, the theme of the Super Bowl was like, we're gonna have a commercial for Bud Light, but at the last second, you're gonna realize that it's not for Bud Light and it's for cashews or something like.
Well,
you know what I mean?
They had a Bud Light commercial that was also a Game of Thrones commercial. I lost my mind when that happened. I was entertained by that one, but that's just because I'm addicted to Game of Thrones right now. But it, I don't know. It's interesting to think about commercials because, like, think about how much advertising gets tossed at us. I mean, like, we use the internet, and if you don't pay for services, like, the majority of people, I would say, don't pay for, like, premium, say, like, premium YouTube. Like, do you pay for YouTube Premium?
No.
So I do. And now that I've, like, seen what it's like to not have ads constantly bombarded to me, I feel like every time I see somebody else, like, play a YouTube video and then an ad pops up, I just get this real arrogant sense. I'm just like, oh, you still get advertisements, peasant. Well, no, it's terrible. Like, I have AdBlock Plus installed in Google Chrome. And I'll visit all kinds of websites, and half the websites I visit won't even let me go into the website without disabling AdBlock Pro, which, like, I understand that's how revenue is made, but I'm just tired. Like, I get tired of being advertised to constantly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's not something that we can necessarily avoid as a society, but, like, I don't watch too much TV anymore. You know, most of the media that I consume is online. So I miss out on commercials for the most part. And I honestly do think that online advertising is a little bit smarter and a little bit more well marketed, because after watching those Super Bowl commercials, like, I think Super Bowl commercials are supposed to be like the best of the best traditionally. Like, when you think of what are good commercials, wouldn't you say, like, oh yeah, you just watched the Super Bowl? I mean,
in the past that's been true, but
traditionally they have like very funny spots.
Yeah, for sure. Now it's just all T-Mobile commercials.
That was weird. It just feels like I don't understand what goes on in a commercial writer's room. I feel like it's a bunch of out of touch, like, adult men and women, you know, like in their 40s, who are just trying to relate to the youth, and they just don't know how. It feels like what was the one? There was one commercial where there were these two robots, and they were talking, and they kept manifesting things out of thin air, and there was like a tiny pony with wings, and it was flying, and they started screaming things, and it just felt like they were appealing to an audience that they thought was brain dead. Like, let's just throw the most random things out there and see if it sticks, you know?
That's funny. The only commercial that I was excited for was the speculated subscribe to PewDiePie commercial for, like, that Mr. Beast was going to fund, which did not end up happening, which makes me sad.
Well,
but apparently they
they
bought a bunch of tickets to the game and sat right behind the uprights on one end of the field, and they were wearing subscribe to PewDiePie, like they had it across their shirts. And Mark and I saw it during the game, but I obviously didn't realize it was them. But I just thought that was very funny.
No,
but it's the best advertisement that I saw the entire day.
I guess there's something to be said about weird advertising, because do you remember the spot Puppy Monkey Baby?
Yes,
I think
for
that was that was so odd and like blood curdling a little bit. I would describe it. It was just horrifying, but I remember it so vividly because of how disgusting and heinous it was. Like, I will never get that image out of my mind of that little monster, like, goblin dancing on the table singing Puppy Monkey Baby, Puppy Monkey Baby. You know, I can't. So I guess in that sense it worked, because I think it was for Mountain Dew.
Yeah, I think it was too.
So, like, I guess in that sense their advertising worked, because all those other commercials I forgot, but the little goblin I remembered.
And they've not had an advertisement since, because they've made it.
Mountain Dew. We made it. That's the new slogan.
Oh, gosh.
You know, I was, the one and only Alec Kern, our friend, Todd Smithers, he came to visit the other day, and something that freaked me out is he was sitting next to me, and he asked me what my Wi-Fi password was. And immediately, I started to answer him, but my phone prompted me the option to share it with him, and that freaked me out a little bit.
That is a little sketchy.
That is just the most scary.
Now that you've said that, I've experienced the same exact thing. Like,
so
I was
scary.
I was trying to share the Wi-Fi password with someone, and then it just popped up on my phone as like, "Would you like to share Wi-Fi password with like?" This
I don't like, because it tells me, it's like, "Oh, you are listening. Stop." Like,
I did not connect those dots until you said that, but that is kind of horrifying.
Yeah, well, Jacob Gennon, he was a guest on one of the old podcasts. He conducted an experiment once where he just spoke directly into the microphone of his phone without, like, being on the internet. He just said, "I could use a new watch." And he said that for about 3 days, until finally he started getting all kinds of watch advertisements.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
It's scary. It's scary. Like,
dang.
that
pretty much proves it.
I mean, it's the future that we're aiming towards. We openly allow it. You know, we allow these applications to use our location and use our camera and use our microphones. Like, there's no reason we can't be documented at all times. But it's still frightening. Like, it feels like I've been invaded. Like, my privacy has been invaded. I know that I allowed it, but as soon as my phone is like, "Would you like to share your Wi-Fi password?" I'm like, okay, just quit. Like, Quit trying to be helpful. You're scaring me.
Mr. Google knows all the horrible things that I'm saying about my friends, and it's going to start notifying them.
Yeah, like you just get a text from Google that's like, hey, your girlfriend's cheating on you. You're welcome.
Hey, on an unrelated note, if you get any texts from Google about me, they're not true.
Well, Google doesn't lie, does it? I've passed a lot of exams with Google, so it's pretty truthful.
Oh gosh, this is the
Anyway.
old thing was just going to be mentioning Jurassic World in every podcast, but now you're just going to mention the fact that you're a dirty cheater. It's the new every podcast norm.
Yeah, every podcast. Yeah, I'm a cheater, and Jurassic World 2 sucked. Moving on. Did you see that DC Comics is in shambles? I mean, well, I guess there's not much to see.
Yes, I'm well aware.
We've kind of known this for a while, but so Henry Cavill is done as Superman, and Ben Affleck he's out as Batman.
Well,
so,
that's okay, because you don't need Superman and Batman in the Justice League.
Well, no, I agree 100%. But imagine if they make a canon sequel, like Batman v Superman 2, which obviously they wouldn't, because you know how the characters have advanced. But if they made a sequel and it was in the same universe and it's just
and they just killed each other.
Oh, I was gonna say it's just two totally different actors.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah.
The only thing DC had going for them was Wonder Woman. I really believe that.
And Wonder Woman,
That's
if we're
old
being honest with ourselves, was
good.
It was a good movie. It wasn't great. It wasn't anything special. It was just good.
I'll be honest. It's hard for me to say. It's been so long since I've seen it. I remember enjoying it, and that is not a feeling that I leave a lot of DC movies.
Let me phrase it this way. If Wonder Woman was a Marvel movie, it would be middle of the road.
Okay.
If not low tier Marvel movie.
Okay, so we're talking so Wonder Woman is like Iron Man 2 of the Marvel universe.
Maybe Iron Man 3.
Oh, that's bad. I just don't they're making another Suicide Squad, right? Or
yes.
is it a Suicide Squad or is it a standalone Harley Quinn film? I can't
Who knows? They might be doing both.
Oh God! At some point, at what point do you just walk away and wash your hands of it?
See, that's what I wish they would do. I wish they would just make the movies they've already funded, and then let it die.
Well, how can they continue it when?
Well, Aquaman made a ridiculous amount of money.
Well,
they clearly
they don't care about money. How can you replace Henry Cavill as Superman? He is the Superman.
It's just a mess.
Well, I
just need to get. They just need to get Nick Cage as Superman.
So, are you near a computer?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, I want you to Google what the original Superman looked like, and compare him to what Henry. Okay, George Reeves. He seemed like a good guy. They were good movies for their time. But you take a photo comparison of what this man looked like in his physique and compare it to Henry Cavill, and tell me how any man on Earth could ever top Henry Cavill as the Man of Steel. You can't. You can't.
I'm telling you right now, I mentioned it as a joke, but the way DC can save themselves is to cast Nick Cage. Because then then everybody just knows. They're like, oh, this is a joke.
Oh, they're not taking it serious. Isn't that sad that that's become his legacy? He's like, oh yeah. If he's in the movie, yeah, I'll watch it. It can't be that serious.
Oh gosh. It's just sad.
Now, as low as DC Comics has fallen, Marvel is doing great.
Well, yeah. It's not even a comparison.
Well, no. It really never has been. To compare Justice League to, Avengers Infinity War, or, even Avengers, just the Avengers, the first one. It's just not close. It's just not close.
No.
I saw a little spot for Avengers Endgame during the Super Bowl. Or I guess it was, before the Super Bowl. Did you see that as well?
Yeah, probably the best Super Bowl commercial.
You liked it?
Yeah, it was great. It's just a little teaser, but...
No, for sure. And I mean, I think that's all it should be. What do you think is going to happen in Avengers Endgame?
I mean, we can sit and speculate, but at the end of the day, I have no idea.
That's
But
fair.
I mean, I'm assuming because the original cast of the Avengers has been a part of the MCU for a long time.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting them to kill off a lot of them.
I bet you're right. I bet a lot of them die, but then I bet the newcomers who died, died in quotation marks, in Infinity War are going to come back because, I mean...
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like Spider-Man, Black Panther, they made so much money. You can't...
Yeah.
It's like you were saying, they don't care about creative, like, genius. I mean, not that Infinity War was a bad movie. Infinity War was
Marvel
great.
certainly cares a whole lot more than DC. That was a comment about DC, not Marvel.
Oh, I mean, that's true. Okay, I rescind that because even despite the fact that, you realize that the heroes are really never in that much danger, it's still a fantastic movie. I'm frustrated to no end that they released Avengers Infinity War, Spider-Man died, and then suddenly it comes out that there's another Spider-Man movie coming out. Like, how's that going to work?
That was frustrating to me, too.
That's frustrating? Like, couldn't you just wait?
They're not trying to hide it.
No,
and
they're
I
not.
think, and I mean, the comic book fans, like, I feel like everybody expected them to come back. But I think I've seen firsthand, like, a lot of casual, just, like, Marvel Cinematic Universe fans, like, probably don't know much about superheroes otherwise, but they really like the movies. Like, they're confused by the Spider-Man. They're like, so is this, like, happening beforehand, or, like,
well, I mean,
are they just going to pretend like Infinity War didn't happen, and all this stuff? And it's like, I mean, no, they're just... This is after, and they don't care. Like,
yeah, to be fair, any comic book fan out there is just like used to things being convoluted, over the top, and making no sense at all.
Yeah,
like
death is always with an asterisk in comic books.
Yeah, like nobody really dies. Like even did you ever play this is unrelated, vaguely related. Did you ever play the Batman Arkham games?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, some of them, but...
Okay. Well, the Joker died in, I believe, Arkham City? I believe it was the game that he died in. But then they continued to bring him back as, like, a villain in, like, Batman's visions. Like, Batman has visions of the Joker, and it's like, okay, well, he's dead, but, like, you still see him the entire game. Like, it just felt like the game creators... Like, the developers didn't think they could make a compelling game without still including the Joker. It's like, he's dead, but he's still here, so it's almost as if you didn't kill him at all.
Yeah, that is disappointing because, I mean, Batman, for one, has so many good villains.
He does.
Like,
I would agree. Superman is not one of them.
No. Yeah, like, they could have given the Arkham games, like, I don't know. I think the Arkham games are good, but, like...
Now, Josh, it is my understanding that we're going to be playing another little game tonight.
Yes. In the true spirit of, celebrating Marvel's greatness for what it is.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun to rank the Avengers, just on, how powerful they are.
On how powerful they are. All right, yeah.
So this will just be based on, like, the movies that are already out and the movies alone. So, like, we're not going to take any of the comic books into account. It's just, like, solely based on the movies, like, from what they've shown us on screen, what we think, like, who we think's the most powerful, like, that kind of deal. And also, like, we'll leave out the Guardians of the Galaxy, too. Mainly just because I don't want this to take forever.
Yeah, no, I think we can keep it rather brief. I don't think we have to fully reach a consensus. I think I can start by saying, the weak boy of the bunch has to be Quicksilver.
Okay, well, before you say that, which I get why you're saying that, because he's the only one that's died.
Well, yeah,
but if if we're being like completely objective, Quicksilver does have super speed. There are multiple Avengers that don't have any superpowers.
That is accurate. Okay.
So, in my opinion, I think we should start, just as a basis, starting with all of them that don't have superpowers.
Okay.
So that would be...
What, Iron Man?
I mean, Ant-Man and Iron Man don't have powers, but I think that they're some of the more powerful Avengers, so let's leave them out.
Okay.
But,
so I think we could start with
Falcon,
Hawkeye.
Falcon,
Probably...
Hawkeye, Black Widow, War Machine. Yeah, so that's it.
Okay. So I think that
my
they're
personal
on the low
vote
end.
for the weakest is going to be, I think, Falcon. Because I heard that you were starting to say Hawkeye, but Hawkeye is like essentially like, I mean, he's a top government agent, like he's essentially an assassin. Yeah. And like if
Falcon's
Hawkeye
kind of
and Falcon were fighting each other, like I feel like Hawkeye would just start of the fight just shoot him with an arrow that has some kind of EMP effect, and he would just be done. Yeah. Like because in a hand-to-hand fight, like Hawkeye's easily going to beat Falcon.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's just my opinion on Falcon. But and then we've got War Machine, who is a military officer.
I would consider him. I mean, we're talking about him with the suit. I would put him above a lot of people actually with the suit.
Above a lot of the people without powers, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, I would. I can agree with that.
I mean, well, you think he's got like a highly mechanized. He's wearing an Iron Man suit. You know, I mean,
clearly not as good with it, but
no, he's clearly not. As sometimes you got to run before you can walk, Jarvis.
And also, to be fair, without his suit and without the enhancements that Tony Stark made him, he is paralyzed from the waist down.
Yeah. Wait, who did that? Who did that?
Vision.
Ugh. Man.
Which I could complain about Civil War a lot, but I'm going to choose not to.
That's fine.
For the sake of moving on. But do we want to put Hawkeye next?
Yes. Hawkeye, and then Black Widow, and then we just want to call it War Machine?
I think that's fair. I don't
Bucky?
have any...
Where does Bucky fall into this? He doesn't really have any superpowers. He's got a big old metal arm.
That's true. But isn't he enhanced with the serum as well? The same serum Cap is? I think he is.
I mean, he's a thick boy, I'll say that. Thicker than a bowl of oatmeal, so...
Yeah, I can't specifically remember. I was going to say that I'm fine with putting Quicksilver after the four we've already mentioned.
Just because, I don't like his face.
And he got shreked. Fastest man alive, shot with a bullet.
Man, faster than a speeding bullet. I've been shot.
Alright, so we got Falcon, Hawkeye, Black Widow, War Machine, Quicksilver. Do we think Bucky or Ant-Man is stronger?
I think Bucky's stronger than Ant-Man.
Yeah, I'm fine with putting Ant-Man. And then
Ant-Man, and then I'd say Bucky.
Yeah. So the next tier, I would say, we have Spider-Man, Black Panther, Iron Man,
Captain America.
Yeah, let's leave it at that, because I think everybody else that we have left is stronger than those.
Yeah.
But personally, of those, we said Spider-Man, Black Panther, Captain America, Iron Man. Is that all we have?
Yeah.
I think Spider-Man is the weakest of those in the movies.
Yeah. Well, he's strong for he knows that he's strong, but he's more. I mean, I feel like he's a support character. He's not.
He's not experienced.
No, he's not a powerhouse. He's like
if it was based like on the comic books, he would be higher. But he's just. Which, I mean, I think everybody probably would get boosted if it was based on the comic books, but...
That's fair. Spider-Man, we said Spider-Man, Iron Man, Captain America, Black Panther.
I would personally vote Black Panther next.
You think Black Panther is weaker than Iron Man and Captain America?
Yeah, I do. At least at this point. Because with the suit that Iron Man has in Infinity War, he's very strong. And
yeah, that's true.
Comparing Cap and Black Panther, at least at this point, I just think I'd take Cap. So
okay, I can agree with that. I mean, he's got a suit of vibranium, but I would put Captain America over Iron Man. I mean, I know he had Bucky's help, but he has beaten Iron Man.
I think they're very close.
They're very close.
I don't feel strongly one way or another.
I would put Cap.
I would have put Iron Man above him, but I really don't. I don't feel strongly about it. I don't really care.
Either way.
So, we'll put Iron Man and then Cap over Iron Man.
So now we're talking next tier. So
we're talking the high tiers.
We got Doctor Strange.
We've got Vision, Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange, Thor, and Hulk. So, I'm gonna go out on a limb. I think Vision is next.
As the weakest?
Based on the movies, he's not done anything impressive to me.
I mean, he paralyzed our good old buddy Rhodey. So
that's the only thing he's ever done, though. Like, Infinity War, he just got his butt kicked over and over again.
He killed one of the children of Thanos, right?
Well, good for him. I still think he's next, but...
I'll agree with you. Vision, I would put Scarlet Witch next.
I can agree with that.
I mean, like, based on the movies.
For sure. I mean, if it was based on the comic book, she would probably be the strongest, but...
Yeah. Now we're down to, what, Thor... No, wait, Doctor Strange, Thor, and the Hulk?
Yeah. You might think I'm crazy. I think Hulk is next.
You think so?
Yeah.
To be fair, I didn't see, is it Thor Ragnarok where he fights the Hulk?
Yes.
Does he win? I didn't see that movie.
Thor and the Hulk fight, and Hulk wins at first, but then Thor just starts whooping up on him, and they actually end the fight because they don't want the champion to lose. So, Thor, based on that fight, is definitely stronger.
Okay.
I would
you
say
think Doctor Strange is stronger than the Hulk?
Yes, absolutely.
Just because, I mean, well, I guess he's got the time. I didn't see Doctor Strange either, so I'm at a real disadvantage
dang.
here.
Okay. we might be at a stalemate then, because Doctor Strange is stupid powerful.
I'll buy into that. I'll agree. The
intergalactic like dimensional powers that Doctor Strange has is kind of ridiculous. And that's going to lead into an awkward debate on who the strongest is, because, I don't really know what I think between Thor and Doctor Strange, and you've not seen Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I would say Hulk, Doctor Strange, and then Thor. I think I'd put Thor at the top of the list. Thor is the only person who came remotely close to defeating Thanos. He's the only person who
Doctor Strange is the only person that actually was able to fight him outside of Thor.
Well, but listen, Thor, when you see...
But yeah, no, I agree. I think I agree.
I mean, because Iron Man, you see Tony Stark fight him. He does the best that he can. And Thanos even, he snarkily is oh, that for a drop of blood, you know? That's a very iconic moment because it's he just had traditionally what would have been the snot kicked out of him. And he's it didn't really hurt. But Thor drives the axe through his chest.
To be fair, it's not really a fight. He just kind of shows up and throws it. But
he does.
Yeah, I agree. I'm fine with that. I will say though, as just a comment, the fight between Doctor Strange and Thanos is one of my favorite parts of Infinity War. It is so cool.
When he's he spreads out his arms and he goes everywhere. And
Thanos brings the moon down on him or something, and he turns it into butterflies. It's so awesome. But okay, after all that, our list as it stands is Falcon, Hawkeye, Black Widow, War Machine, Quicksilver, Ant-Man, Bucky, Spider-Man, Black Panther, Iron Man, Cap, Vision, Scarlet Witch, Hulk, Doctor Strange, and Thor.
I think I can agree with that list.
And you can add us if you want to, because we're just a couple of guys that like movies that are just ranking things off of what we've seen.
Yeah, so if you have a problem with this list, first of all, say something in the comments, all right? I want to know what you think is wrong with it.
Yeah, give us your lists. We want to know who you think is the strongest of the strong.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Oh, okay. I'd like to rescind my order. I'd like to go Falcon, Hawkeye, Black Widow, War Machine, Quicksilver, Ant-Man, Bucky, Spider-Man, Black Panther, Iron Man, Cap, Vision, Scarlet Witch, Hulk, Doctor Strange, Thor, and Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider.
All right, there you have it. The list of the strongest Marvel characters. The strongest Avengers, mind you.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of Nicolas Cage and all of his fantastic films, do you have any guilty pleasure or embarrassing movies that you really enjoy? Like, just movies that you think are, like, traditionally in the sense of, like, cinematic genius and that scale. Or they're just terrible, but you still love them?
Okay, when you said guilty pleasure movies, for some reason, my mind went straight to The Princess Bride. But
Okay,
then
I
you
don't think
said
it's a bad-
that
I
are
don't think it's a-
traditionally terrible, and I was like, oh no, the Princess Bride is great.
I mean, I guess.
So,
yeah.
so no, not the Princess Bride because it doesn't fit. I mean, more than a man would like to admit, I am a fan of The Notebook. But then again, I don't think that that's a bad movie either. It's just kind of like an embarrassing movie for a dude to like, I guess.
I mean, sure. That could be a guilty pleasure movie. Josh, do you have any idea what my movie would be? I feel like I've talked about it before.
The Land of the Lost.
Yeah. You knew instantly. Yes.
Go ahead and talk about it, my friend.
Yeah. In 2009, that would have made me, 12 years old. And I stumbled across a movie called Land of the Lost, a film starring Danny McBride, Will Ferrell, and Anna Friel. And in this film, from what I can tell, it kind of pooped all over the source material, which was a TV show that aired probably 30 or 40 years prior, and they alienated their entire audience by making it filled with vulgarity and dirty jokes. But as a 12-year-old, this was one of the first vulgar movies that I'd ever seen, and I thought it was the funniest thing. It was also, I believe, the biggest box office bomb of 2009. It has won 2 awards. Both of them were Razzie Awards. One
gosh.
for the worst remake, ripoff, or sequel, and the second for the worst actor, Will Ferrell. But I will tell you, to this day, if you were to put that movie on, I would know every beat, I would know every word, and I would still enjoy the heck out of it. I love that movie.
You would know every word?
I would know almost every word.
That's something that I don't think I could say about any movie.
About
like
any
knowing
movie.
every word.
You know, one of my favorite I think it's the movie's kind of slept on in some aspects. Roger Ebert gave it 3 out of 4 stars, you know, before he passed away. He was a film critic that I really aspired to be like, because I really liked his taste in films. And he said, you know, this movie is so unapologetically, like, satirical. He's like, I love it. He's like, you know, at no point does it try to be serious, and I love it for that. Like, I commend it. It's great. And he gave it 3 out of 4 stars, and I said, you know what, Roger? I like you. I don't know. The movie just gets me. We don't have to spend too long talking about it, because I feel like I'm just incriminating myself as somebody not to be trusted when talking about film. But
If we're talking about
movie.
horrible movies that are actually incredible, I think Kung Fury just tops the list of
Kung
just
Fury,
masterpiece.
See, I wouldn't even call it horrible. It's like,
Yeah,
the thing about
it's just extremely like low budget.
the difference between them is Kung Fury knows exactly what it is. Land of the
Yeah,
Lost
that's
had
true.
like $100 million budget.
Oh, I've thought of my movie.
Oh yeah, let's hear
The
it.
movie that I love above all other movies.
Let's hear it.
It's Chris Pratt's best role of all time, reprising his role as Owen in
Oh my God,
a world
no,
full
no,
of dinosaurs.
No, take it back. Before you speak, take it back. I don't want to hear what you're about to say, because what you're about to say is that you love Jurassic World 2, and Jurassic World 2 was a steaming pile of garbage, and I don't want to hear about it, okay? Don't speak its name, lest the memory live on.
But what about the
Jurassic
beautiful?
World 2, okay, listen, Josh, I'm pissed off.
I was thinking of Jeff
Jurassic World-
Goldblum, by the way. I couldn't remember his name, but the monologue of Jeff Goldblum at the end.
Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom has a 6.2 on IMDb, and Land of the Lost had, I believe it was a 5.7. Critics think that Jurassic World 2 is better than Land of the Lost. And I just don't want to live in a world
where that's the case.
Yeah, where that's the case. If that's the okay, Land of the Lost has a 26% on Rotten Tomatoes. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom has a 47%. I don't buy that for even a second. All right, the polls are rigged. I'm calling it now. Jurassic World 2 sucked. All right.
I'm glad that we've started talking about Jurassic World again.
I think it's a tradition.
It wouldn't. That's what was missing from our last episode of the podcast. Was
the hatred for Jurassic World 2. I think if I were to ever be famous, if I were to ever get, like, huge, I want that to be my gimmick. Like, I just get really angry if anybody ever mentions Jurassic World 2 to me. In fact, I want that to be what I'm famous for. They're like, hey, did you see that new video by Blake Conrad? And they're like, are you talking about that guy who foams at the mouth every time you mention Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard?
Closing thoughts. No, I don't have any closing thoughts. Don't go see DC movies.
Please don't support them anymore. Listen,
it's just not worth it at this point.
Just let them. Yeah. So if we have one closing thought, last week we roasted Sega and Sonic the Hedgehog. This week, I would like to go out on a bold claim and say, if you are the studio executives in charge of funding DC movies, just quit. Just stop. We've had enough. We're finished. You're finished. And that is all. This has been Destination Unknown, Episode 8. Closing thoughts, don't watch DC, and we'll see you next time.
See you later, folks.